Alrighty, Dragons, this is Unit 6, end of the first semester. I'm just going to give you some hints, maybe tell you what I would do on these problems. I'm not going to give you the answers. We'll work on that in class. There are several ways you can do this one. You can do a regression for each of these lines. The only problem is that the regressions give you the answers in slope-intercept form. And all these guys down here are in standard form. So either way you go, you're going to have to do some type of solving for y. So you know how to do a regression, hopefully. So here's what I would do. I'll do C for you. I would take these guys right here and I would just solve it for y. Okay, so if I have 4x minus y equals negative 28, I would move the x so that positive 4x on the left will become a negative 4x on the right. I would remember that I still have this negative sign in front of y, so I'm going to divide everything by a negative 1. And negative divided by negative is a positive 4 in front of the x. Negative divided by negative is a positive 28. I would do something like this, and then I would go to my calculator. And now I have an equation, so I'm just going to go to my y equals, and I'm going to type that in. So I'll type in 4x plus 28, and then I would go to my table. And I would just look. All right, this one has 0, 3, 0, 28. So I know this one right here is not line V. Okay, so I would check something from over here. This is 1 comma 32. Okay, well I've got 1 comma 32. Does it have the other ones? It really doesn't matter because this one has to work. It doesn't. So see, this is negative 8, negative 40. This is negative 8, negative 4. All right, so I'm just going to stop on C because this equation is not line B, it's not line Q, and it has to be one of the two in order for it to be the answer. So go back and start with A and solve for Y. Put in your calculator, go to your table, and see if you can match these up. Okay? On this one, it's really just kind of putting a lot of stuff together. Okay? First of all, you got to know perimeters. Okay? Well, perimeters is the distance around the figure. So if you have squares, you know all four sides are the same. So if this side of the small square is y, this side is y, that side is y, and that side is y. And if I come over here and ask you what's the perimeter in terms of y, well, I have a y plus y plus y plus y. I've got 4y. So the perimeter of this guy is going to be 4y. So I would take that same thinking over here for the big guy, okay, and go back and read carefully. You're going to create two equations. Sum means that you're going to be adding. So you're going to be adding these two perimeters, and it's going to equal 64. And the other equation, difference, you're going to subtract and set it equal to 16. Okay? So you just got to piece all that stuff together and find out which ones over here match the situation that you're given. All right, on this one over here, these are all solved for y. So what I would do is I'd come over here, and for each line, I'd find two clean points. I'd make a sloped triangle. I'd identify the y-intercept. I do that for both lines and then just match it up. This one should be pretty straightforward. Over here, solve for y and do a second calc. 5. Enter, enter, enter. Okay? We've been practicing these. Come over here. Notice it says that it's using D's and Q's instead of X's and Y's. Don't let that throw you off. All right, so we have quarters is the variable Q, and dimes. Okay, remember you need two equations. So you need an equation for how many coins, and if you're in my class, I said how many chunks of metal you have. That would be one equation, and the other equation deals with the value, money. Okay. This one, we do a stat edit, stat calc. Okay, now you got to remember that you got to take it, your first regression is going to be these two. Put this in L1 and this in L2. Your second regression is you're going to keep the X's, but you're going to go to Y2. So your second regression is going to be this being L1 and this being L2. So you're going to have to do two regressions. Okay? But these are all solved for Y. Should be pretty straightforward. Make sure you use your calculator wisely. Number 7, you've got company M right here. So you can do a regression. L1, L2, that would be pretty straightforward. But you got another company down here. Okay? So this one's already given to us. This is Y equals 120X. So after you do a regression here, you can put this one in Y2 and do a second calc 5 and see where they cross. Remember, you might have to zoom out. So you might need to do a zoom 3, enter. You might have to do that multiple times. This would be equation 1. Following the clues, this would be equation 2. Okay? So you might want to let X equal the number or the cost of the chapstick, and Y equal the cost of the M&Ms. Okay? Use your context clues for each one of these. For customer 1, make an equation. So use these numbers and X and Y, and do the same thing for Y2. Okay? Same thing over here. You can let X equal the number of adult tickets, and you can let Y equal the number of children. Okay? Or you might want to switch it around. Remember, you want the student one. So in my particular, I said children, student, whatever. Once I do get my equations and do a second calc 5, I'm going to take the Y number because that's for students. Okay? Same thing on 10, second calc 5, solve those for Y. On this one right here, remember to start with Y equals mx plus b. Do a slope triangle to identify your slope, identify your y-intercept right there. And remember, if you are going towards Santa, it's either greater than, or equal to, or if you're coming down here to the penguins, that's the penguin, less than or equal to. Okay, so check your shading. This one right here, put that in your calculator, go to your table. Domain, these are x's. So find the y's. This one solve for y, move the x, divide by what's in front of y. These two put in your calculator, see what happens.